At this point of the show, it's time to bring on board our guest for the discussion today. Well, I have a new media consultant, a personal brand specialist who is certified in online business and is passionate to seeing indigenous and local businesses gain global relevance through leveraging the internet. Well, I have Mr. Etido Paul on the show today, and it's quite a pleasure to seeing you again.
It's always a pleasure, amazing. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, I believe that you had that introduction. It was quite a speech.
Certainly I did.
Well, once again, thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. So with what I was trying to ask, I would say that with all of the efforts that has been put in place regarding, doing some bit of catching up with the digital drive that's going on globally, how would you describe the efforts and move? Is this satisfactory enough? And at this time, do you think that we can truly catch up with, maybe the gaps that has been there for several years now, or we still have a long way to go?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me and thank you for the viewers. I would like to start this conversation by saying that you can't talk about catching up in the digital space without first of all talking about the digital infrastructural gap we have in Nigeria. I say this a lot wherever I have to make this talk, and I think I've said this already on this show. 50 years ago, if you are talking about government, or even 20 years ago, if you were talking about any government producing or providing infrastructure, you would say a good road, electricity, schools, good education, a good economy, which is key. But today, you can't talk about a provision for infrastructure without mentioning the internet. It's impossible because this is the 21st century and we have the 21st century economy. And one of the cardinal things that drive the 21st century economy is the internet. And that's one of the things that unfailingly or unfortunately the Nigerian government have not really invested in. And instead of me to say what the government would do, of course, like I used to say, the government have better advisors, hopefully, than me. Mm-hmm. I'd rather advise the Nigerian youth on how to take personal infrastructure intentionally, rather than waiting for when the collective infrastructure is going to be fixed. Will it be fixed? I can't say. Has it been fixed? Of course, it hasn't been fixed. If it has been fixed, we wouldn't have been having this conversation now. But again, let me quickly say this. There is a way the first world native, an average first world native sees the internet. And there is a way the third world native sees the internet. Let me start with the latter. The third world native, which Nigeria falls under.
Are we still in the third world? I thought we were moving to the second.
There are indices that actually decide that, and we haven't actually left those indices. Nigeria is still called a developing country, and that's one of the indices. One of them is the power of the currency. So, but I'm not here.
Yeah, I understand. I just threw that in.
Enumerate that. So back to the conversation. A way a third world native sees the internet is like a finished resource, a resource that is about to finish, like water in a jug. So while you are pouring it, you are looking at the ones remaining. So if anyone is watching us now online, the person is going to type *131# to see the remaining data, to know whether he or she is supposed to reduce the resolution to save the data, or if he or she should stop watching this show entirely, because the data they have is not unlimited, it's quite limited, and not just limited, the quality is not as good enough. Now, I'm going to say why I'm heading this direction. Then back to the other side, which is the first world country, they see the internet as a highway. On that highway, they know people are driving and they are supposed to deliver their ideas there, their goods and products there. What happens in the highway? Now, when people are driving in the highway, there's supposed to be an entertainment. So they say, okay, so what are we going to do? They bring some form of entertainment, Netflix. People are driving on this highway. There are supposed to be some business transaction. So what are we going to do? They bring e-commerce. You have the Jumia, you have Amazon. This is a highway. So people are driving here. What are they going to do? There's supposed to be some sort of education. Some knowledge is supposed to be transferred. And they bring Udemy, Coursera. That's how they see the internet. How does this affect us? When you see anything as a finishing resource, it affects your psychology of being productive. It only brings you to the state of being consumable. So Nigerians or any first world country native sees the internet as a consumable resource, while the first world country sees the internet as a productive tool. Anything you use to produce is always more than what you use to consume. If I buy bread with 500 naira, of course you know it doesn't take 500 naira to produce a bakery. It doesn't. So that's to tell us that if we have not yet invested in our internet as a digital infrastructure, it would always put us at that permanent state of being a consumable native. The first time I was able to leave the shores of Nigeria, it was about a blockchain training, and I saw someone from Sweden. I mean, people from different part of the world came in there. So I was privileged to have this conversation with one of the CEOs of a blockchain company, and he said, before the time I asked the question, so he was very intrigued in my personality. So he said, I would really like to know you. Where are you from? And I said, I'm from Nigeria. He said, Nigeria. That's the hope of the world. And I said, okay. He said, Africa is rising in Nigeria. I said, okay, we've been hearing this. Now, but what do you, as a first world native, mean by saying Africa is rising in Nigeria? He says, well, for us, we don't give birth anymore. But for Nigeria, there is nothing like birth control. That means when we give birth, those babies are going to need some sort of education. When we give birth, those babies are going to need some clothes to wear, shoes to wear, food to eat, those baby foods, the toys to play. We don't produce that. They produce. So since they don't give birth, they are supposed to look for another market. And that market is only Nigeria. That's why anybody in the first world country can never sit down and fold their hands and see Nigeria born. It's not because they love us too much, no. It's because they are seeing a potential market.
Oh, like an exploitative perspective.
That's the truth. So now we are always consumable, but they are thinking productive. So now, but away from that, I was just explaining how a first world native sees the internet, and it has a way of enhancing their ideas. I tell people that it is important that you understand this because it is natural that a first world native's idea is primed to be 10 times better than a third world's native idea. If I have an idea now, maybe I'm an American and you are a Nigerian, the next flight I take to South Korea to find a business partner, strike the deal, in 6 hours, I'm back to America. But you as a Nigerian, that does not happen. The reality is that you may not even have, an average Nigerian youth does not even have an international passport in the first place.
Ouch.
Yeah, now these are the truths that we need to tell ourselves. Then talking about the whole hustle of getting a visa, Okay, when you now, okay, let's even say you are not even supposed to travel. Let's say you want to do a Zoom call. You know what that means? That you have to look for a way to subscribe your phone, then look for electricity. All these things have a way to bog your mind. And it affects the quality of our decisions and the qualities of our ideas. Then back to digital skills. If you are saying we are talking about digital skills, our digital infrastructures tend to determine our digital realities. The things we have on the digital space determines the experiences we have on the digital space also. And you can't talk anything digital without talking about the internet. That's why I'm spending this time to talk about this. It's something that is important. But I would also like to tell the Nigerian youth, while we are waiting for the collective digital infrastructures to be fixed, you need to take your personal digital infrastructure very important. So rather than waiting for the government to come and do this for you, two things you need to fix for yourself: your electricity and your internet. You have to get that fixed. However you're going to do it, no matter the excuse you have, no matter the valid reasons you have for not getting that fixed. Remember the last time I came here, I said you can be correct, but not progressive. So do you really want to be correct? You being correct will say, oh, Nigerian government does not care about us. They don't care about us leading in the world globally. You are correct. But does that make you progressive? No, it doesn't. So now coming back to the question you asked, if the Nigerian government are doing better, until we can find internet on our buses, they have not done it. Until we can find internet in social gatherings, they have not done it. I'm not talking about having 1 or 2 hubs which have not even happened yet. No, that's not what I'm talking about. Let people be able to enter a social gathering and they can find internet connections there. That's when you are saying, okay, we have invested in these digital infrastructures. We are not talking about bringing 1 or 2 persons to give a talk on digitalizing the economy and you say we have done. No, that's not what we are talking about. Go to any first world country. One of the key things that you can find is internet, apart from electricity. Those are the 2 basic things. Now, why is it that these guys that are called the first world countries invest in these things and we are not? There is something they know that we don't.
So in other words, you're trying to say that pyro or, drifting or deviating from the popular opinion that we can build our digital economy without necessary or without these structures being in place is not possible?
It is impossible. And I mean, any government knows that. Any government knows that. These are not even symposium discussions. They are very basic things. The first thing any government, any individual, anybody that has a business, that has a personal brand or a corporate brand needs to fix, apart from electricity, have your internet in place. You see, if you are very quick to do any online business, or maybe you give a talk online, before you go online to start your talk or maybe to stream, you are advised to run a speed test. Yeah, you should know that. Mm-hmm. As a Nigerian, you should know that. But as an American, they don't need to know that.
No, it's not necessary.
That's what I'm saying. Why? Because the quality of your internet is top-notch. So when you are saying, just to learn digital skills alone, it's expensive. It is. I'm talking out of experience. 4 years ago, I used to subscribe my phone with a token, and it takes me for like 1 week or 2 weeks. When I started this journey of investing in myself digitally, the same token I used to recharge or subscribe my data services with, it wasn't no more conducive for me, even up to a day. Now, I never understood that these things are this expensive. So every time I'm on YouTube to learn, but before, I could actually use that as, you see what I'm saying now, as a consumable resource. I could just go on WhatsApp, send some messages, and I'm good. Now that my subscription still takes me for 1 or 2 weeks. But when I wanted to be productive digitally, that same token wasn't enough. I had to look for an ISP. Now, an ISP is Internet Service Provider that can give me a top-notch, unlimited internet service.
Well, paid for.
Of course paid for. Of course paid for. Of course paid for. Now, what does that make me do? That anytime I can wake up, my mind, I don't think, would I have internet? Do I need to subscribe? I don't. Now, it frees my mind. It increases the productivity of myself, basically because my whole life is online. So now what I'm saying is this: you can't even talk about digital skills without talking about, that's the basic. Nobody should say you are digitalizing Nigeria without giving us those two things. Give us electricity and give us a free internet. Unlimited, quality, top notch. Then we can talk about other things.
Okay. Well, now, with that fact being established, now let's look at another area that you had touched on, which is having Nigerians also playing their own part, which is why we hear it in the news, why it's of public attention that, oh, the government is digitalizing Nigeria and what have you. The part of the Nigerian, especially the youth, because there's been strong emphasis about how positioned is the average Nigerian youth in embracing and being a part of those who will set the pace when it comes to digitalization and the skills and innovation that will be needed for the development that the country requires. And it's quite disturbing or sad, when you brought out that fact about the fact that, a lot of Nigerian youths don't even have a valid international passport. Something as little as that is quite a big deal.
Yes.
Talk more of, this other area. But then still, the question is, as a practitioner, as a young person, as one who has gone through the ropes, how would you describe the average Nigerian youth when it comes to digital skill and innovation development?
We could be popular online, but that doesn't mean we are relevant online.
Okay, how so?
Being popular is being known, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're relevant in this space.
But it's also used as a projective tool.
In reality, it doesn't. Oh. It doesn't. Gary, for instance, is not that popular, but it's very relevant. You don't have to advertise Gary, but it's very relevant. But that's not what I actually want to talk about. Now, the Nigerian youth are found on almost every social media platforms. Don't forget, as a consumable factor, not necessarily as a productive factor. Do they have the minds to be productive? Of course they have. Of course we have. Of course we have that mind to be productive. But are we actually productive to the degree of our potential? No, we aren't. Why? Because of these things I just mentioned. The digital infrastructure. Don't forget I said our digital infrastructure tends to govern our digital experiences. The things we have determines the things we experience. Now, I'm going to quickly, I don't know the time we have, mention just 4 digital skills that any Nigerian should and must learn if you want to be relevant in the digital space. Okay. The first one is what I call the digital real estate. You must have and be able to design a website. No matter who you are, this is not the time you say, this tech thing is not for me. Oh, no. It hasn't been for anyone. I read political science. 10 years ago, I never saw myself in this regard. I just wanted to be in the office, administrative thing, just be behind the scenes. Then, I'm done. I didn't want to crack my mind. But again, when I sat down, I said, this is where the world is actually going to. And I need to plunge into this. I want to be relevant. And I can't be in Nigeria and my voice is heard elsewhere. I mean, I'm a strong believer, and the Bible says, I am the light of the world. It didn't say I'm the light of the streets. It didn't say I'm a street light. I'm the light of the world.
The world light.
Yes. So I can't just sit down one place, and because of maybe the nonchalance of my government at a particular time, or just the way their body language is towing to a particular angle and disregarding one particular angle, and I miss being the light that I'm called to be. And I had to find the possible ways to do this. And I realized that this is supposed to happen online. And one of them is owning a website and being able to design a website.
Yourself,
yes,
or with
yes.
external assistance?
Now, that's why I'm here. People see designing website as one of the most hardest things in the world. It is, depending on the angle you're coming from. And it is not, depending also on the angle you're coming from. If you want something that is very complex, then I would advise that you should meet a professional. But if you want something to portray a personal brand, why am I using a website? Because that, just like I said, it's a digital real estate. That's what you own. It's called a domain. So when you are paying for it, for example, etidopol.com, it's a domain. I have paid for it, and no other Etidopol can use it in the whole world. So that's my digital real estate. Why do I need to own that? Because Facebook is not mine. Facebook can close at any time. Instagram is not mine. Those are borrowed spaces. Anything can happen. A division can take it away. Your government can decide one day and say, okay, we have put these guys on ban, and your message is gone. So when you own your own digital real estate, you determine where your message goes to and when your message should actually go out. But still on that, visit, I don't know if I'm okay. Now, I may not be allowed to mention some other brands, but trust me, there are possible ways that you sitting at your home can make a website in 30 minutes. I mean 30 minutes, a website of your own. You can start with the free services before you now go to the premium service. That's number one, own a digital real estate. And that's having a website or being able to design one. You can't talk about anything digital skill without being able to design a website. Forget it. You can't. Even if you don't do it, have a knowledge of it. Number two is digital advertising. You see, people go to where the attention is, and where the attention is where the money is. There is a popular saying that says, doing business without advertising is like winking at a lady in the dark. You're actually winking, but it's in the dark. The lady is not seeing. So if you are supposed to do business in the 21st century, you must be able to know what we call digital advertising. You must be able to take your message and advertise it by advertisement. Now, I'm not talking about maybe using your WhatsApp status and tell people, oh, come and buy before I go to the village. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying come and patronize your sister or your sister using those emotional blackmail. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is being able to pull attention to yourself. That's what digital advertising is. And the money always goes to where the attention goes to. So you must be, one is have a digital real estate, which is your website. Two is being able to advertise yourself, your brand, or your business digitally. The third one I would say is something that if you are in the digital space, you must have suffered this, is being able to have an international gateway platform.
Okay.
Being able to stay in Nigeria and receive money from other currencies. Do you know that is a blessing in a disguise?
Okay.
Oh, you may
How
not
important is that?
You are talking about doing business digitally or online. That means you are relating with other people from other countries. They are coming with their currencies, right? You have an idea. I have the money. If I'm supposed to do business with an American, I won't go with dollar. Hold on, I won't. I would rather use Nigerian money to be able to what do you call it, exchange it for dollar. But what I'm using first is the naira. But when you go on the digital space, nobody cares whether you have a way of of exchanging the money or not. You pay in my currency, and I pay in your, and I also pay in your currency. But as a Nigerian, this is no more exchange. Now, you should be able to devise a means legally to be able to have those international gateways to still be able to receive money in foreign exchange. Now, when I mean foreign exchange, I mean it's not just dollar. You should be able to have a system, a legal system that allows you receive and also use their own currencies. Because what good will it do that you have an idea and you can't sell it? Nobody wants to buy with your currency. I mean, you are still a third world country. Don't be deceived. Your currency is not too better than theirs. So they won't derogate themselves or bring themselves down just to buy from their currency. No, they won't. They would rather even want to take you there and still be able to use their currency. That's how international politics works. So that's another third thing. Be able to have a way to receive or exchange your idea for international currencies. You should. Then the fourth thing I'm going to say is find a way and sell your knowledge online. One of the easiest thing, or one of the easiest way you can do this, go to any, you have the Coursera, you have the Udemy, you have the Teachable. Go there, take some moment out, look at the popular courses, the courses that are on demand, the knowledge that are on demand, and find the ones that relate to your passion. Then you can create your own online course on that and you sell it. Actually, that's how I started. And I don't hide this from people. I started by finding things that are very demanding online. And I had a list of a few, and I looked at the ones that are very relatable to my passion. And I started doing that online. Now these things I'm telling you are not things that I read somewhere. Of course, they are somewhere, but these are things I used on myself and I use on my clients also. So these are the four things. Have a real estate or a digital real estate, which is your own website. Be able to advertise yourself or your brand digitally. Have a way to get your international payment gateways, and be able to sell your knowledge online. Those are the four things I think any Nigerian youth can invest in if you really want to do anything that has to do with digital skills.
Okay. So yes, so that is to say that we just got a 4 point to when it comes to the conversation or the starting point of digital skills and innovation contribution. And so it is to say that there's always a starting point to get to destination point. And so we've had our guest today establish something, saying it is one thing, or there's no such thing as having an evolution or having a level of development without necessary structures in place. Well, we're going to be concluding on all that has been said so far, but don't forget, our conversation still emphasizes on the digital skills and innovation potentials that is fully that's loaded in Nigeria, and how all of this can be harnessed in when it comes to the collective contribution it could make to national development. Well, that second part, or the second question, is what we're going to be attempting with the minimal time we have at this time. But then quickly, let's take a breather to have you assimilate, take in, and possibly put in an idea or two, or probably make it a little more relatable to you as a person and as a Nigerian on how to be involved in what we're talking about today. We'll be right back, as it's still the middle page on ABN TV.
The youth population is the human capital hub of any society. A youth is someone in the prime time between 15 to 35 years. Youthfulness is characterized by vibrancy, energy, and curiosity that is needed to create social development. The level of youth development reveals the quality of preparation the society is making for the future. No matter the number of natural resources a nation has, it will remain wretched without harnessing its youth resources. Therefore, youth empowerment is considered among major factors that determine the development of a country. According to Muhammadu Buhari, youths must see themselves as the greatest asset the country has and remain resilient no matter what the situation in the country may be. Nigerian youth should shun cultism, banditry, kidnapping, drug addiction, rape, and other negative vices to reposition themselves as vanguard for positive change across the world. Our most potent ambassadors are young Nigerians who are breaking new grounds and winning laurels in diverse fields of endeavors. Nigerian youths must prove that truly they are leaders of tomorrow.
Well, we're back. Well, I was actually trying to have a little tidbit or two with Mr. Etido Paul before the camera came on me, so I hope you don't mind. But anyway, we're still on the conversation regarding digital skills and innovation potentials that are available in Nigeria, and how all of this can be put together when it comes to the conversation of its contribution to national development. And so still in the studio, we have Mr. Etido Paul doing justice to our conversation so far. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you
And so
much,
because of time, let's head right straight to how all of this can truly be used for national development. We have established that, yes, we do have potentials, but maybe we're just a little bit misdirected. And then maybe the average Nigerian, including the youth, is yet to realize how important or how they have a part to play when it comes to that. But then it's one thing to establish a value or to identify a value. But, you know, when the contradictory question about how will this help us as a country, what would your answer be?
I just said an analogy.
I know.
And I'm still going to go back there. When the Swedish guy told me we are coming to Nigeria, how does that help them? Now, there is what we call, I think that was in my secondary school, they used to say flight money, money, financial flights. When you make money here and you spend elsewhere. I mean, that's the worst thing that can happen to any economy. You're draining us and you're replenishing elsewhere. That's the worst thing that can happen to any economy.
But is it something that can be avoided? Is it avoidable?
Of course. Once you are a consumable entity, there is bound to be flight money. Because we are making the money in Nigeria and we are spending elsewhere. 90% of the things we used in Nigeria are exported. That's the truth. Including our digital skills. Facebook is imported. We are only consuming all the social media platforms that we used as Nigerians and we patronized as Nigerians. We are only using them as a consumable resource. We are not producing it. We are not. These four things I just mentioned, from the internet, we don't even have a hosting company in Nigeria. As bad as that, we don't even have a digital advertising company in Nigeria.
But some have been.
Please, can you mention one?
Okay.
We don't even have a platform that people can sell their knowledge. That's the fourth thing I mentioned. I mean, then this shouldn't even be a conversation that a government should think, how would this? This is so clear that we are making money as Nigerians. I mean, should I say how much I spend weekly to subscribe for the things I use online? And these are not done in Nigeria. And it's not even paid in Naira. They are paid in foreign currency. Where does the money go to? Thank you. So assuming we have even one of these, do you know how much would have come into our local reserve? So now when we say, as a matter of fact, the moment you are a consumable entity, then financial flight is bound to happen. One of the indices that determines a growing economy is the GDP. Of course, you know this. Now, when digital people in a community make all their money digitally, do you think they won't want to spend it digitally too? They would. I hardly use fiat. By fiat, I mean cash. I hardly use it. How do I make my transactions online? But this online, if you want to trace the sources, they're not from Nigeria. How do I buy things online? These e-commerce sites are not owned by Nigerians, not even in Nigeria.
Okay, so if these structures are yet to be established, are you saying that we are completely going to be cut out of it? Couldn't there be some middle point or starting point where we say, okay, till we have these things in place, why don't we have something come in to encourage us to do more and, you know, get all this
You would have
necessaries
to
in
ask
place?
that question again. I think I didn't get you. And I don't want to assume that kind of question.
No, well, I'm saying that, okay, we, with all of the setbacks that we have already, does it mean that there's nothing we can do for now with the current
When
realities?
you say we,
As Nigerians.
okay.
We can do,
I just wanted to be
yes,
sure
as
in that.
Nigerians, including the government, do to, probably have some things coming that will probably be a sign, because it has been described that the average Nigerian policymaker needs a proof to show that what is being asked for is going to be of good or beneficial to the country. So what I'm saying is that what are the things that we can do to start, and then probably from it build up to the bigger things that you're talking about?
I'm going to say this clearly and clearly and clearly again. I'm not perturbed by repeating myself, because I understand that conviction is built by repetition. Every Nigerian youth should have two things, two infrastructural tools: provide your electricity and provide your internet.
And how does it affect or benefit national development?
I just said it. I have an idea in my room. That idea could be local, but it serves the global purpose. For example, I help my clients put their ideas online, whether you are in Nigeria or not. As a matter of fact, 50% of my clients are not in Nigeria. Assuming, God forbid, let me sound religious now, I wasn't able to do that, don't you think there could be a possibility of me being a kidnapper?
Okay.
Don't you think there could be a possibility of me venturing into bunkery?
So which is to say that the digital skill and innovation sector has given fresh opportunities.
Alone, it has a way of saving the government of too much stress. I mean, these are things that other governments just sit down and they put it up as a strategy. Why is it very difficult in Nigeria? The Nigerian youth, they have the potentials. My God, sometimes I see Nigerian youth and I feel I'm not even intelligent. I'm serious. Like the people that may never come to the TV sets like this. The people that may never have the privilege of being on radio, but are doing marvelous things. How will they be heard? They may not even know these things that I know. They may not even know that they have to provide themselves with the infrastructural tool to be able to reach other people globally. But they have these things, they have these ideas. Do you know how frustrating it is for you to have an idea and it doesn't leave your room? Or it doesn't even leave your head, because by the time you are trying to make this idea to reach another person, NEPA has taken light.
Oh dear.
I was trying to send you the file, my data finished. Oh, I was trying to watch the file you sent to me, my data. Okay, what if you are in a class and we are learning a particular digital skill? Let's say 5 Nigerians, 10 Americans. There is a possibility that those 10 Americans are going to understand that skill better than a Nigerian. Not because a Nigerian is daft or the Nigerians are very unintelligent. No, it's because there is something about having a relaxation to learn. A Nigerian is learning and is thinking, would NEPA take light? Did I on the fuel? Would the fuel? I mean, these things tend to affect your psychology while you're learning.
Okay. Mr. Tido. Well, it's always it's quite fascinating, but then as basic as they seem, it is important. And so, but then with the minutes you have left, you know, how do we wrap this up with all that has been said so far? Where we have established that we do have huge digital skills and innovation possibilities and all. And at the same time, they have a lot to contribute to the country. But then I have my director at the other end telling me that I cannot engage you for that 1 minute. And so that's about the time we have on the show today. Well, we have actually been making conscious effort to deliberate, understand, and analyze the development so far when it comes to digital skills and innovation potentials available in the country, and how all of this can be harnessed when it comes to the conversation around national development. Well, we had the privilege of having a certified online business specialist who is also a new media consultant in the person of Mr. Etido Paul. Well, Mr. Etido, thank you so much. And
thank you so much,
we will keep calling you whenever it is needed.
I'm always here. Thank you so much.
And thank you to you as well. You never ever fail to be a part of the show, and we truly appreciate this, encouraging you to keep watching ABN Television, Star Times channel 140, and also on www.abn.ng/live. Plus, catch up with previous edition of The Middle Page on our official Facebook page, and that is ABN Middle Page. Well, that's about the time we have, as I've mentioned, as my name still remains Amazing Ekedebe. Wishing you all the best, saying take care of yourself and have a wonderful day.